Hi guys, welcome to another Jamaican video, a Jamaican living in Germany. Now in this video, I want to tell you all about how I spent lockdown 2020. In fact, last year I ran and I hiked more than 2,000 kilometers all across Germany, and that's what I want to tell you all about in this video. For 2020, I had really big plans, but then March came along and there was a lockdown in Germany. Restaurants, shops, it's like everything just somehow just started closing down. And that's when I thought, hey, it would be good if I would actually run every week at least 20 kilometers, go hiking, go for a walk and so on, just to kind of keep sane through it all. So that was kind of my plan to make it through the lockdown. So in January, I ran like about maybe 65 kilometers for the entire month. And then in February, it was just like about 36 kilometers because I was back home in Jamaica. Now, the surprising thing about March, when the lockdown actually started, is that I didn't even just double the distance that I ran in the previous months, from 45 kilometers all the way to 200 kilometers just running. And that doesn't even include all the hiking that I was doing, because in March, I think just about every Sunday I was actually hiking for at least 20 kilometers, and then during the week I would also be going hiking or even just going for a walk. This also continued in April, where I also ran another 105 kilometers, and then I was also hiking just as frequently. In May, I started having knee pains. Like when I would go, even if I just be walking, I would just be having pains in my knee. And I just couldn't explain why. I couldn't understand why this was happening. And it wasn't just like for a couple of days, this was going for weeks. And I was like, okay, something is definitely wrong. I started thinking, what if I won't be able to ever run again? And is this... I was just thinking about the worst possible scenarios. Running and hiking had become such a central part in actually dealing with the different challenges. And just the thought of not being able to do that, I was really heartbroken, because I'm like, how am I even going to make it through the rest of this lockdown? The pains that I was having, I explained to a friend of mine who's a physiotherapist, and then he started giving me massages to kind of help with the pain and all that stuff. And I must say that was probably some of the craziest massages I received, because sometimes I literally wanted to cry because those things were like painful, but nonetheless that really helped. And after a couple weeks it got much better, and then I kind of wanted to just jump back in, but he said, hey, you gotta take it slow. So I started out with like 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers, and then slowly getting back up to 10 kilometers. I was like really thankful to him, because I mean, yeah, I don't know what the rest of the year would have been like if I wasn't able to actually continue running, to continue walking comfortably. I think it would have been a very different year, and I probably wouldn't be making a video like this. So after May, things really improved. In fact, in July I went back to my kind of regular, and I was up to doing like 100 kilometers running, and then of course hiking was going on as well. It was about this time that the lockdown kind of wasn't that strict, and you could actually kind of travel a bit. And so a friend and I, we went down to the south of Germany, and we had a hiking trip for like 4 days. So we were in the south of Germany. We hiked over to Austria. We traveled across Austria, and then from Austria over into Liechtenstein. Within those 4 days, we covered at least 100 kilometers or even more than that. So some months I was like even up to 160 kilometers. I think that was, for example, in September. And then I finished out the year in December with like 200 kilometers. So the total distance that I ended up running in 2020, and especially during the lockdown, was 1,380 kilometers. And just for a comparison, in 2019, for the entire year, I ran 521 kilometers. And so pretty much in 2020, I almost tripled the distance that I ran in 2019. So for hiking, the distance was more than 800 kilometers. I don't have the exact figure because I didn't time all of them, but from the ones that I timed, it was already over 600 kilometers. The total overall distance, according to my Mi Band, is like 4,000 kilometers for the entire year. Throughout the year, I was just breaking my own records, like the fastest time for a kilometer or for a 10-kilometer run they were just constantly just going lower and lower and lower, and I was like, wow, this is actually really great, because I was pushing my limits and I was getting much better. Running was probably one of the reasons I could actually remain happy, because you step out of the cities where all the places are closed and everyone is wearing a mask, and you're out in nature, you're all alone, and you look around and you see the plants and nature just looks normal. So it was like, for me, it was a perfect picture where I was outside and everything kind of seemed normal. It's like I could forget about the pandemic and I could just enjoy nature. I could enjoy the seasons changing and just recognize that, hey, there is still something that's normal in the world. One of my biggest accomplishments was actually just shattering my records for half marathons. So for example, in January, my half marathon time was like 1 hour and 49 minutes. In March, I did another half marathon and the time was like 2 minutes faster, so 1 hour 47 minutes. And the next opportunity that I had to do a half marathon was in August. And my time for that half marathon was 1 hour and 40 minutes. So I shaved off a complete 7 minutes of my time. And now we're in another lockdown in 2021. In fact, this one started, I think, back in November or sometime thereabout. And it's kind of the same thing, the same attitude that I have, where I'm just gonna push myself. I'm just gonna go running, I'm gonna go hiking, I'm gonna go for a walk, as long as I can do it and it's not breaking the law. I'm just gonna focus on those things that I actually can do and the things that I love, instead of being frustrated about the things that I can't do. So that's pretty much what I did for 2020. Run, walk, hike. Pretty much I was on my feet for most of it. So let's continue down in the comments. Let's continue the conversations. I want to hear what you guys actually did to survive 2020 and to survive the lockdown. And thank you so much for watching this video, and see you in the next Jamaican video.